Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nerd Masala. I saw The Wolfman last night, January 16th, 2025, at a preview screening. A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. The movie is another remake of the 1941 classic horror movie of the same name, both featuring the titular werewolf. Wolfman stars Christopher Abbott as Blake Lovell, the father, Julia Garner as Charlotte, the mother, and Matilda Firth as Ginger, the daughter. Wolfman is co-written and directed by Leigh Whannell, the co-creator of Saw, Insidious, and most recently, the Invisible Man remake. After Universal's cursed Dark Universe attempt, they and Blumhouse switched to making standalone movies to bring these monsters to the modern era. I really enjoyed Whannell's Invisible Man remake, and the previews for this movie looked promising. I also was aware of the discourse around the controversial werewolf monster look in this movie, with a lot of people thinking he looked goofy. So, how did Wolfman do? How is the monster? Does the movie work? Wolfman was quite the experience. Let's break down the positives and negatives of this movie. There are a lot of positives in Wolfman. The themes, the creative choices leave a strong impression. Wolfman has something to say about humanity and the horror of nature. As Blake begins transforming into a werewolf, there is a very cool pendulum style perspective change you witness throughout the movie. You get to see the world around him, experiencing his turn and the tragedy of a man's de-evolution. It is sad and horrifying. Then you get to see the world change from Blake's perspective. You start taking in the people and the setting around him from his animalistic perspective. It's interesting and unusual and also horrifying, but in a different way. Speaking of horrifying, Wolfman is a different kind of horror movie. It's reflective horror. For most of the movie, as this terrible family story unfolds, I found myself leaning into the scares being shown on the screen instead of coiling back or looking away. Because more than scared, I was feeling empathetic. It's such a pure homage to the classic monster movies from a century ago, this kind of tone for the movie. The performances in this movie are memorable. Wolfman revolves around three people, and they chose really strong actors for the roles. Chris Abbott channels Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff in his man turning to monster role. He is good as Blake, but he's great as the werewolf. Julia Garner has the unenviable task of playing the straight man role, the Tom Cruise role in Rain Man, if you will. She has to play the level-headed yet terrified mother and wife of the story, and she delivers in spades. Matilda Firth also does a great job as the daughter. Just great acting all around. There are some negatives in Wolfman also. Not strictly negatives, but more missed opportunities. The story is simple, sometimes painfully so. Even with a much appreciated 90-minute runtime, Wolfman's plot feels like it would have left a much stronger punch as a 1-hour Twilight Zone episode. There are some parts of the movie that stretch and feel like they've been added just to massage the length and help the movie meet its quota. The last 15 minutes feel so dragged out that despite the lighting and the score and the closing in on the resolution, it ends up being strangely tame. The best parts of Wolfman are in the middle, and the answers to the mystery set up by the movie are obvious. The Wolfman monster look is not goofy, but it is also not a look that's worthy of movie posters. The Thing and The Fly were major inspirations for Whannell's Wolfman, which is a commendable approach. The werewolf in this movie is not supposed to be some iconic creature. It is a grotesque biological abomination. It works for the plot, but like with the creature in The Fly, I don't want action figures of Blake's Wolfman. I had a good time watching Wolfman. Leigh Whannell and his team break the curse of the cinematic universe by completely upending the expectations of an Easter egg hungry, sequel thirsty audience with a merely good movie that could have been great. But that's okay. Sometimes I don't want my horror movies to be shamelessly ambitious and serve as a base for 10 more sequels. Sometimes I just want to see a man get bit, turn into a monster, destroy his world, and burn it all down, leaving me lingering with a sense of misery and gratitude. Reflective horror. Hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you liked this video and subscribe to my channel for more horror content, video essays, unboxings, stand-up comedy, and cute dog videos. Thanks for watching. What did you think of Wolfman?